Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. Videos today from Strong Successful Male. My wife asked for an open marriage, so I hooked up that night and dumped her the next day. My man. Please extra down below. I really appreciate that. See that? Chow time. So a lot of you guys love SSM. There's two stories you guys really wanted me to cover, which was this one and another one. So I'll cover this one. I know some of you guys don't really like him either, but he has good stories.
Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He is 31 years old. He was married for 5 years, and he's presently just a few months away from finalizing his divorce.
I'm going to preface this part here that even my ex-wife asked for an open marriage. Not an open marriage, but she was like, oh, you should open it up so you can see other people and all this. Me being the dumb bird brain blue pillar that I was like, oh, sure. I mean, I guess that makes sense, you know, like, whatever. Dumbass me.
And like a lot of guys, he thought he was in a really happy marriage until his wife dropped the bombshell on him of wanting to have a, wait for it, open relationship. Unfortunately for her, in the last few years of his marriage, for whatever reason, this guy started really educating himself and immersing himself in RP content. So, when she...
I don't know how much our content, my channel, other guys' channel in the Red Pill Manosphere has saved so many men's lives. I love it.
Proposed this idea, he already knew from obviously some common sense, some self-worth, and also educating himself in this type of material. He knew then and there, it's over. The marriage is over, and also that if she's asking for this, the odds are one of two things. Either
she's already doing it.
She's already hooking up with some dude and essentially wants permission to therefore no longer make it cheating, twist things around a little bit. Or two, that she already has one guy or multiple guys lined up so that she wants to hook up with, but obviously she's not going to do it because that'd be cheating. But if she can get this guy to agree to it, then it's not cheating. I knew it was over. And let's just say, guys, how he handles it like a boss. He handles it in a way you're all going to be proud. He handles it the exact opposite how the majority of guys handle a situation like this, which is the wrong way. And let me tell you, she gets the shock of a lifetime. It's beautiful. Because I've done too many of these stories where these guys do the wrong thing and get burnt and taken advantage of and hurt, and it's really, I'm tired of it. But guys are starting to learn, and it's great. And it goes to show that this content really helps out guys. Whether they're single, young guys starting out in the world, or guys already married. It's important to learn this type of knowledge. And I gotta tell you, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like how I talk, how I look, my personality, but just listen to this content. Listen to enough of these real stories and you start...
And this is where I agree with. Some of you guys don't like how his mannerisms and just sometimes how he talks or whatever it is. I don't really care about those things too much. I care about the story. I care about the knowledge that it's being dispensed by these stories and things that we can relate to. Things that have probably happened to us. Things that will probably happen to us in the future. Remember, I always say, you don't have to listen to everything. Just absorb it. Just absorb it. You don't have to take all of it in. You don't have to take everything in. Take the important things that are going to affect your life.
Start to notice patterns, and people may not like me that watch this channel because I know I got haters, and believe me, I know this every single day.
I'm sure I do too.
But this does help people. These are real things that happen, and after a while, you start really learning things that can protect you one day down the road. So that being said, here we go.
And I agree. Sometimes you have to hear some of these stories a couple times, 3 times, or very similar stories in succession to really drill it in sometimes. Trust me, guys. I watch all of these videos and I still pick up things here and there from all these videos. Why? Because I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to pick up new things, trying to improve.
Yeah, he says, hello SSM. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share my story with your community, but I figured that might help some guys out there, so why not?
Damn right.
When everything happened, I thought I was in a solid marriage, but I'm not sure if those exist anymore. Ever since COVID started, I spent a lot of time watching RP content and ran across your channel. I'll probably earn a smack from you, but if so, I'll wear it as a badge of honor. Unfortunately, I've joined a club that none of us want to be in. All of this happened last year, And I'm now a few months from the finalization of my divorce after 5 years of what I thought was a happy marriage. So many guys say that.
Yep.
You're not
I was
alone,
one.
brother. So many stories. Guys thought they were in a happy marriage. Everything was great. You're not alone. And I know from this story you did your part to be a good husband to her. So it's not your fault. It's her. He says, I'm 31 years old and my ex-wife is 30. If you do the math, we were probably too young to get married, but I thought I knew her pretty well. I was wrong. Yeah, dude, you were way too young, because it sounds like you were about 26 years old when you tied the knot. Way too freaking young. You were younger. You didn't watch this type of content. You didn't know. You did what everybody else does. You thought you found this amazing girl and all that. Way too young. Guys shouldn't get married if you're going to get married. And you know my opinion on marriage in the 2020s, how things are today. But if you're going to do it, in my opinion, guys shouldn't get married before they're 30 years old or darn close to it.
This take is a hard take for me to agree with SSM about. I think you should be marrying young. I think you should be marrying within around the 26, 28 range. The 30 range is a little bit older. Yes, us men can be older and it's perfectly fine. But I think when I think about it myself, I'm 37 now. I wish I had kids in my 20s just so I could be a little bit more physically fit to be able to do a lot of things with my kids. And not saying that, oh, you're going to put yourself in danger. Of course, in 26, you still probably haven't built yourself up enough yet to start a family. But some people do. Some people are able to, as long as that is your main forefront in your mind, that you want a family after you graduate college or, your trade or whatever it is you decide to do. You have a few years to be in it and then start your career. And about 26, 27, 28, yeah, I would assume that's when you start looking for partners. I do understand that even me personally, I didn't get to where I am now until 37. So again, I'm 50-50, but I don't fully agree that you should be in your 30s to get married. But for men, it's a little bit better, but I don't think it's a must. And I think actually marrying a little bit younger is slightly better. The only reason it's older is better is because you're more stable. That's the only reason. But if you find a good partner that's willing to build with you and you guys are building together when you're not fully stable yet, I think that's the best. Just my own anecdotal evidence of opinion.
Well, they got plenty of time to really, and I mean really, spend years with a girl to get to know her, see what she's like with money, if you guys see eye to eye in terms of spending, saving, where you want to live.
And this part, I 100% agree with SSM. It takes years. I disagree with The Godfather, that's 6 months. But I understand where The Godfather is coming from, because The Godfather is a little older, and the older generation, yes, in 6 months, you got married and you might have been okay. But here, you can't vet the person well enough in 6 months. You really can't. Even in a year or two, it's very difficult to vet a person. Unless you fully meet all their family, you fully vacation, you fully do everything within the year to, see all the little nuances of how she acts in different settings. But other than that, it's going to take years.
Values, all that, how she resolves conflict and problems, what her family's like, all these things. And I might add, the guy has time to put away money, yes, watch it grow, get a nice nest.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to somewhat agree now, as he's been explaining it a little bit more, but I think it's still a bit better younger.
Stay going there. Start to kick ass with his retirement savings. Maybe get a place, move up in the career, get a solid position in his job. All these important things. And maybe a little bit along the way, may realize, I don't want to get married.
All right, you know what? I'm wrong. For the masses, I'm going to agree with him. Yes, for a majority of men out there, yes, I think the 30s is going to be the best time for you to get married. But the people that are very focused on marriage, focused on families, like late 20s is really good.
But get married when you're that age, 25, 26, when you're just maybe a few years out of college or a few years into a trade, too young. And you're going to see him right. He says, I met Janet at a work function. She didn't work at the same company, but it was a guest of one of the ladies that worked there. It was actually Janet that approached me, and we ended up having a nice evening talking and dancing. By the end of the night, we traded phone numbers, and over the following 3 months, we started dating exclusively. That, I might also add, was too soon. 3 months is too soon to jump into an exclusive relationship, in my opinion. You know why? Because you want her to work to get you. If in less than 3 months you're already in an exclusive relationship, she doesn't have to work too hard to get to you. And let me tell you, we all appreciate things in life that we have to work hard to get. So this is why very beautiful women, they don't have to do anything to get a guy, have no respect for guys, because they can get a guy just like that. But the guys they really want are the ones they have to work to get. So I might add here, for you relationship guys, don't go rushing into a relationship. Make it 6 months at least. And if she doesn't like waiting, so what? Find someone else. Because if you're a guy that does well for himself, building him up to the best he can be is a catch, in the opinion of women. They'll wait for you. They like.
Remember, if you're a catch, that means you have to work on yourself, work on your money, work on your career to be a somebody first, right? To be able to have these kind of options.
They'll fight. They'll wait. They'll be bitching about it, but they'll wait because they want to get you because you're the prize.
Damn
but
right.
if you give in too easily, they don't see you as a prize. Long story short, we were married for almost 3 years before she brought the idea of getting married. I'm not going to lie and say that her chasing me wasn't a nice ego boost, and we worked really well together. My only condition was that we both signed a prenuptial agreement. We both signed prenuptial agreements, not just one agreement.
Nice.
And after watching my mom fleece my dad in divorce, separate finances, she agreed. Good, bro. You had good head on your shoulders for doing that. And guys, this will come back to be a very important thing at the end of this story. So there I was, 26 years old and married to a woman that I thought adored me. The next 5 years are pretty good. So you thought. Not perfect, but what relationship is? The only real disagreements we had were about going out with our friends and doing single people's events. She had a couple of friends that were always trying to get her to go out clubbing with them. Of course she does. Because those girls are, I'm assuming, still in their mid to late 20s. So they're out there riding the carousel, being party girls. And I'm sure there's a part of them that wants their old wing girl back.
Sure.
And he says here, and I've always followed the advice from my dad about girlfriends. Nothing ever good happens after midnight when alcohol is involved. Very wise. Notice that came from his dad. As long as the dads have a clue, you want to go to men that have, that have knowledge. Don't go to women to get advice about other women and dating and relationships and all that. You're asking for trouble. The problem was easily solved when she suggested going out with her friends. I told her that she was going to start acting like she was single. So would I. That usually ended the conversation. Good for you, man. I wasn't sure if it was her idea to go with her friends or the suggestion for her to come, but after a few years it was clear that it was something she wanted to do, and I was starting to think it might have made a mistake getting married. That may have been what triggered you starting to watch RP content online and start educating yourself. And listen to your gut, because as it turns out, your gut was right. I love my wife. I never looked at another woman, although I had plenty of opportunities. Because you're a good man, that's why. Because you actually stuck to the vows. I'm sure you had plenty of opportunities, dude. Plenty of us do. Plenty of guys that are watching this right now that are married in relationships had opportunities, but they didn't do it. Because they weren't scumbags. Nope. And they get cheated on by gals who they...
Hell, I was an idiot. I probably had opportunities, but I was so loyal to my ex-wife. Like, I never even knew there were opportunities.
They thought had their back. Before I start rambling too much, Janet never went to the clubs with her friends. I only mentioned that to express what her mindset was, and from the content I've seen her the last couple of years, I could see that she was starting to get restless in our marriage. Still, we had a good thing going, and I thought everything was fine. She'd bring up something to test my boundaries, and I would check her, and life would return to normal. See?
Normal.
What I tell you guys about testing. They're always going to test your boundaries.
Always.
And you got to act like a man and check them, or say no. Just like little kids. Little kids are always testing what they can get away with their parents, with their guardians, with teachers at school. And you got to nip it in the bud right away. Otherwise, there'll be more tests, more bullshit. And the tests could be little tests or big tests. It was early last year when everything changed. I can still remember the day like it happened yesterday, and while I wish things had turned out differently, you can't control what other people are going to do. It was a Saturday afternoon, and Jen and I were home trying to figure out what we were going to do that night. I don't remember the movie, but we were talking about going out that night when she dropped the bomb of my life. The bomb of my life. Out of nowhere, she brought up the idea of a open marriage. Now, I'd never been that guy to sleep around, and the idea instantly repulsed me. That was when I started remembering all the RP content that I'd seen and the consistent message that when they bring up the topic, it was because they were already hooking up with someone else or they know who they want to hook up with. Exactly. Now imagine if she brought this up and you didn't study that type of content. How would you react then?
You would have accepted it, like I did. I was like, oh, sure, I guess I get to sleep with others, but I don't really, I guess it works out. I don't see anything wrong with it. That was how my take on it was. I was like, oh, I'm progressive. I think it's cool. Sure. Nothing ever happened. She never, well, at least I don't assume that anything ever happened because we kind of divorced a little bit right after that. But it wasn't even me that initiated the divorce because I was still an idiot.
I was crushed. I had no idea if that was the case, but there was no doubt in my mind that if she was bringing it up, the idea were already in her head.
True.
All the plans we had worked for over the last 5 years were in flames, and I asked if she was serious. She went on to tell me for almost 30 minutes how it would make us a better couple, to have more experiences where we could share with each other.
I wonder where she
got that. What a load of crap. And by the way, I'm sure many of you guys that watch these videos notice a pattern here. They always try to sell the guy on this idea how great it will be for our relationship and blah, blah, blah. The cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. She got her magical day where she got to be the bride. She's got that ring on her finger. She gets to be a Mrs. Somebody. She got to show to the world that she could get a guy to commit to her and marry her. She gets the benefits of obviously another income helping provide. Now, she wants to go back to riding the carousel. And I want to point out something, guys. This is very important. What age is she right now?
30?
30. The age all women fear. And she's probably starting to notice that I'm not getting as much looks and attention as I did 5 years ago. So now she's got to prove to herself that guys still want her. What I tell you about attention and validation, it's like a drug. That's why a lot of these gals...
It's funny because, yeah, that was very similar time for my ex-wife. She was about 29 at the time. 28, 29 is when, I want to say 29, almost 30 at the time when she brought that up.
Eventually, if they're not already, start going on.
I'm noticing things already.
Instagram and TikTok and other social media to get attention. And they start putting pictures on there and they get some attention. And then next thing you know, they start having more revealing pictures of their shorter skirts, shorter shorts. Mm-hmm. They get more attention, more likes and stuff like that. And next thing you know, their videos. Next thing is them in the bikinis at the beach. You see attention and validation. It doesn't stop. So you got a gal, guys, right now, if you're dating relationship guys, that's always posting on Instagram pictures of herself, get out. Because you're never going to be enough. Ever. And it's not going to stop. And it'll only get worse. And we all know where that direction that goes. Anyway, so she was selling him on this bullshit idea. It says here, it was like I was listening to a complete stranger. The entire time she was talking, I realized that the love I felt for this woman that I thought I would be married to for a lifetime was gone. There I was sitting with a stranger, and I couldn't get the thoughts out of my head that she was probably already sleeping with someone else, or at least knew who she wanted to sleep with, and I was disgusted.
This man at least was immersed in the red pill content beforehand. I was not. I was completely blue pilled. I just thought, well, I mean, it makes sense to kind of move the relationship in this direction, I guess. Like, dumbass me.
It's one of the two. I guarantee you, bro, it's one of the two. When she finished her sales pitch, that's what it felt like. I sat there quietly thinking for a while. I could tell she was nervous, and the longer I didn't say anything, the more uncomfortable she seemed to be. I'd sit there for half an hour thinking, just to see what she'd do. And then I'd walk out. Janet finally asked me what I thought about the idea after telling me how much she loved me and our life together, and she didn't want anything or anyone to come between us. She's actually saying these words. It's like, again, there's this book, a manual of all the shit they're supposed to say to try to convince these guys to do this, because it's always the same thing. She said if I didn't like the idea, we could just forget it. But now that I knew she was either banging someone else or at least had someone targeted, I knew our marriage was over. Yes, it is, bro. And that's what I've been saying all along. I'm really sorry to hear this. I really am. Because you seem like you were in love with her and you thought a good thing was going, and you were loyal and good to her, as a husband ought to be to a woman that deserves it. Well, she didn't deserve it, as it turns out. Maybe it was petty or possibly my caveman DNA peeking out. But I wanted to show her that I had options. If she was bringing it up, I had no doubt that she had eyes for someone else. I knew we still had some legal paperwork to end the marriage, but in my mind, the moment she brought up the idea, I was single. I told her, fine, if that's what you want to do, we'll open up the marriage. Now watch what happens next. You guys will never see this coming. She smiled and said that we should talk about the rules, and I started laughing. I told her that you just told me you want to F other guys and you think they're going to have rules? Because she wants to control the situation. She looked shocked at first and then a bit panicked before saying that maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Something in her told her this isn't a good idea, but too late. I told her it was too late and this is what she wanted. I talked before about having opportunities that I never explored. One of them was a lady that I had worked with for a little while, more than 2 years ago. We'll call her Renee. She was very pretty, single, and had been openly flirting with me for about a year before she propositioned me. She's not the kind of woman that I would have ever entertained being in a relationship with, but she was perfect for what I needed from her. So notice he said that she propositioned him and he turned her down because this guy has some freaking integrity. He's married. Not going to happen. That's great that you're attracted to me. I'm sure he enjoyed the attention, but he wasn't going to act on it. But now that he knows things are over, watch this. I pulled out my phone with Janet watching me and called her. I can still remember the look of shock that evolved into what I can only describe as terror on Janet's face.
This man is ruthless.
While I was talking to Renee. When she answered, I told her that my wife just opened up our marriage and asked her what she was doing that night. She said that she had made plans with one of her friends, but would love to cancel them and hang out, so I made the date with her right in front of Janet before hanging up the phone. Bro, that is awesome. I never ever saw that happening because, again, I guarantee in her mind she's either hooking up with someone else or she's got dudes to hook up with, and she's thinking, oh,
see, this is what I talk about, man. Like when you work on yourself, you build yourself, you do well, you take care of yourself. Women throw themselves at you.
no problem, because I'm going to get plenty of dudes. She knows darn well if she's above average look, she's going to have no problem getting dudes, but she knows also it's going to be harder for you. Even if you're a good-looking guy, that's a catch, it still won't be as easy for you as for her. But right there, boom, okay. You get out the phone call. That's hilarious. I did not see that coming when I first read this story.
I mean, I read the title, but yeah.
Janet started freaking out, asking me what I was doing, and even tried to say she thought we were going to the movies. I just laughed at her when what I wanted to do was cry now that the marriage was over. Yeah, internally this guy's heart is being ripped out, but he has the ultimate poker face here. That was when Janet said we didn't have an open marriage and that I couldn't go out with Renee. Oh, no. You spent 30 minutes on the couch convincing me all the glory and benefits of open marriage, and now that I have an option with a girl, and you saw it, now all of a sudden, oh, never mind, we don't have an open marriage. Nope, too late. You opened Pandora's box, you opened this can of worms, that's it, too bad. I had no idea what was going through her head, but I was guessing that she didn't think she would get replaced so easily. I was crushed, but I was damned if I was going to let her know how much pain I was in.
And that's what I'm talking about, men. You know, I spoke about that one clip of the gentleman crying when his wife cheated on him. Shout out to that gentleman, poor him. But you shouldn't be crying on the internet. You shouldn't be crying in front of people like that, especially her. I 100% agree with him. You have to stay stoic. You have to just look like you don't give a fuck anymore. Even though I'm sure inside you are dying, men. I know. I was there. But you still gotta Hold it in.
She just got up and went to our room to take a shower to get ready to go out. While she was following me, asking me not to go through with it. She was apologizing for bringing up the idea and saying it was a mistake. She even suggested that we could go to marriage counseling to work past this. I probably could have, but the moment my wife basically told me that she wanted to go F other guys, there was no amount of counseling that would have put that broken mirror back together. The more she begged, the more disgusted I was. Dude, if you didn't do that, and you went along with this, oh, let's make some rules BS that she mentioned a few minutes earlier, she wouldn't be reacting like this. She'd be planning her freaking dates. I hated that our relationship ended like this. I'm not sure if it was my anger or just me being petty. But I took my time getting ready and really went all out to make sure I dressed to the nines. By the time I was ready to leave, Janet was bawling and begging me not to go out. Imagine that, because again, this is the same woman that wanted to get a whole lot of sausage and was selling this guy on the idea, but now all of a sudden this guy's an option, and look at her bawling her eyes out. Last line of defense, I might add. In our entire relationship, I loved her. Probably more than I was healthy for me. But watching her laying on our bed bawling because I was taking her up on her idea, all I could feel was hatred for what she'd done to our marriage and all the plans we had for the future. I could have probably just left without saying anything, but I wanted her to hurt as much as I was. When I was turning to leave, I told her to not wait up for me and left the apartment. Damn, dude, way to rub salt in the wound.
Ruthless.
The only thing I could hear was Janet's body-wrenching sobs, and I felt like crap. Not because she was in pain, I wanted that. I felt like crap because all the work I put in the relationship was for nothing. Yeah, 5 years is no small amount of time, and then also the 3 years that you were with her before you got married. But you know what? You're 31 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you, bro, and I'll get back to that at the end. I'm not going to go into too many details about the rest of my evening, but I can report that Renee had a wonderful evening. I did have to silence my phone because Janet was blowing it up for most of the night. I bet she was. When I got home in the morning, Janet and one of her friends were sitting on the couch talking. Of course she has a friend over in your apartment.
It's probably the one that wanted her
Janet
to
was
open their
mostly
marriage.
crying while her friend talked. As soon as I walked in, her friend started cussing at me for being a bastard and cheating on Janet. A little shocked at that, I asked her if she knew that Janet was the one that opened up the marriage. Then she tried to say that I was breaking the rules or some such nonsense. Bro, you're the bad guy. In their eyes, you're the bad guy.
Always.
I would have said, oh, you're cussing me out in my apartment? Well, you can get the hell out of here right now. End of story. He says, whatever. I told her that she didn't need to worry about it anymore since we were going to be getting divorced. That was when Janet lost it. She was crying and saying that she would forgive me if we closed the marriage. Wait a second. She's going to forgive you? What'd you do? She wanted to open the marriage, by the way. We all know that. All tens of thousands of dudes that are going to watch this story over the next 24 to 48 hours heard that. She wanted to do this. He gave her what she wanted. What's the problem? That we could work past this. I told her that the marriage was over the second she told me she wanted to F other guys, and since the apartment was in my name, she will be moving out.
Damn right.
Good for you. Look what all this RP content has helped this guy with. He was sure he was already married, sure he got married too young, fine, but he started watching it, learning to have some self-freaking respect, spot the red flags and all that. If you didn't...
I wish. I only wish. Again, this is probably the biggest push for me to do the content in the first place. As I watched The Godfather, I was just like, I wish I knew this, Godfather. Why didn't you tell me about all this shit before I got married? So now I do it, hoping I can hit some younger men out there to not fall into the trap, or even some older men.
It didn't do that, I think this would be a very different scenario. I could write an entire book about our divorce, but the long story short was that she moved in with her friend, and we spent the next couple of months splitting up all the things while our divorce was being processed. Thank God for the prenup agreements, or it would have been pretty ugly. So here I am 3 months out from my divorce, a changed man.
Good man.
I'll never make the mistake of getting married again. I gave Janet and our relationship everything.
I'm an idiot. I still want to get married. I haven't even learned, in a sense, but it's because I am very family oriented. I think family is the number one thing in the world. Just me personally. I know not everybody thinks the way I do.
I had everything I had, but it wasn't enough for her. You hear people say that stupid expression, happy wife, happy life, but it's bullshit.
It is.
Dude, I did a whole video on that just 2 or 3 days ago about the whole happy wife, happy life thing is BS. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that, and if you didn't, check it out. And it was based on an article that a woman wrote. A woman said it was BS because the woman who wrote this obviously wants a guy that acts like a freaking man, not some brown-nosing, pleasing, spineless kiss-ass of a dude who's weak. He says, it's impossible to make a woman happy. I'll never make that mistake of trying again. My family was pretty angry with me when I first filed for the divorce, but when they found out what really happened, they understood. Apparently, Janet had told my mom that I cheated on her, but when I explained that it was Janet's idea to open the marriage, my mom cussed her out for being a liar and blocked her. Good for your mom. I'm glad mom stood with you. Because sadly, a lot of these stories I go over, like the one I did yesterday, which is very popular, the mom didn't do that at all. So in the end,
I love my mom. I know when I got the divorce, my mom was like, good riddance. My mom did not like my ex-wife.
And I guess I won, but it doesn't feel like a victory. I'm mostly just empty inside and angry that so much of my life was wasted on Janet. For now, I'll be focusing on my work and trying to get back to some of my hobbies that have fallen off over the years. I still occasionally hook up with Renee, but she understands they will never be anything more than F-buddies. She seems to be okay with that. If I have any regrets, it's probably that I'll never be a father, but in this day and age, women are just too unpredictable to bring a child into life. That's it. Other than some
brothers, there's still always this option, you know, just to put it out there. I know most men are not going to be able to use this option, but at least have the knowledge that it's out there.
Instant revenge, I still feel like I lost a lot. Hopefully my story can help some other guys out there. I'm sure there are good women hiding out there somewhere, but I'll be damned if I know where to find them. Good luck to all. Well, bro, thank you for sharing your story. And like all the stories you heard that helped you out, you sharing your story will help others out. So we keep doing this, guys, to help each other out here. But damn, bro, that was quite a tale. You handled that like a boss. And I'm sure it was tearing you apart inside when you... excuse me, guys. Tearing you apart inside when she had this conversation with you and you were doing all that. But you know what? She got what she deserved. You handled it like a boss. That is awesome. I'm proud of you. And as for saying, you wasted all those years, yeah, you were with her for 5 years married and 3 years dating her beforehand. But you know what? You're 31. You got your whole life ahead of you. I know it feels like, oh shit, I'm now in my 30s. I'm an old man. That's what I thought when I turned 30. Well, guess what? I'm 44 years old now, and I would give anything to go back to be 31-year-old me with the knowledge that I have now. Holy
Agreed.
Shit. And at the time, I felt old. You're not old. You got your whole life ahead of you. So just...
Okay, again, I know we have our whole lives ahead of us. I'm not saying that we're too old. I'm just saying when our kids become 16, 18, we'll be in our 50s or late 40s. It's going to be tough to be able to, help train our kids, our sons to, play football, play catch and all of these things in that later of an age. That's where I see it. I wish I already had a 16-year-old now or an 18-year-old now. I'm 37. If I, gotten married, when I got married until now, I would have been 16 years old by now. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just in my head about this, young, old thing. But I do agree with SSM. Probably for the majority, masses of men, you probably want to get married in your 30s.
Like you said, work on yourself. Go back to doing all the hobbies and stuff and things you used to enjoy probably before you started getting serious with her, because a lot of guys, they get with a gal and they get serious with her and those things start dropping off. So go back to doing things that you enjoyed, going back to being who you were. I'd recommend, if you don't do it already, get active. Hitting the gym or some kind of physical exercise.
Always.
It's going to make you feel better, because these last few months when you're finalizing the divorce, and then when it's going to be emotional for you, even though that you're done and you had enough of her and all that, it's still going to be emotional. You're a human being. So if you're not doing that already, head to gym, start working out. If you don't know what you're doing, hire a trainer, start lifting some weights, learning some exercises. If that's not your thing, mountain biking, cycling, jogging, I don't care what the hell, bouncing around on a pogo stick, I don't care, but get physically active and you'll feel better. And then just keep working on your career, moving up in the world, saving money, hanging out with your bros, being with the...
No, I agree. Working out and just getting your muscles flowing and just doing things, hiking and all that, it really helps out with the depression. It really helps out with being sad and not knowing where you're going. It helped me out tremendously.
Family, and let your life take its course. And if you're still hooking up with that girl Renee for some occasional action, just be careful. Always wear protection. Always dispose of that protection. I'm going to add that in there too. And just be careful. But like you said, you think there's some good ones out there, but they're very hard to find. Yeah, they're not all like your wife. Unfortunately, a huge chunk of the population in varying degrees is.
Yes.
So you definitely have to do some searching. But there are some conservative, traditional gals out there. But because I never say they're all like that. I know you got other channels, guys saying all, but I think I'm more of a middle of the road approach in my view on things. But it's going to be very hard to find them. But I wouldn't be in any rush for relationships. You got to work on you.
Shout outs to SSM. Shout outs to that man. He handled it very well. I did not. I gave in. I let it happen. Nothing ever happened. I just agreed to it. And no rules were ever actually laid down now that I think about it. And I don't believe either of us took advantage of the openness. So please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time.